Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chroma Awards live stream. It's going to be a really fun one. Today, the official submission platform officially opened, and free trials are now available for redemption on our website, chromaawards.com. So there's a lot of chatter about that on the Discord, which is really fun to see. And Maddie is here as well to talk through some of the questions and logistics about that. Let me just bring you in, Maddie. There you are. So Maddie, you can wave hi here. So submissions will be open until November 3rd, but we'll walk through all of that, how to get your work submitted, how to redeem the free trials later on the stream. At the beginning of this stream, we have Yves Dalbiez, a fantastic film director, animator, and AI filmmaker who has been using AI to enhance the years of work that he's been doing in film directing and animation. So he'll go through his piece on Pooh and some of the behind the scenes of that as well. So we're streaming on Instagram, X, LinkedIn, YouTube. Feel free to type in comments anywhere. We'll mostly take questions from YouTube though, so I'd recommend tuning in there. And yeah, um, we're streaming regularly throughout the competition as well, starting today with Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific time and Wednesdays at noon Pacific time. During these live streams, we're basically do the same sort of agenda, talk through the goings-ons of the competition, and then we'll have some great guests, more AI creators, as well as guests from the sponsors who are giving us these amazing free trials and cash prizes throughout the competition. Yeah, I think that covers everything. Anything we want to add, Davis and Maddie? All right, cool. Well, let's intro Eve. Eve,
Hello,
welcome.
hello, Madi, Davis, Mati.
Hello, Yves.
How are you guys?
Good.
Great. Thank
Nice
you
to
for
see you.
joining.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me today. It's a real pleasure to share my work with you and with everyone who are connected.
Yeah, we're honored to have you. And it was not too many months ago that Davis, Yves, and I were all in Japan. We were getting lunch and just hanging out and talking about life and the AI industry and so many wonderful things. So really excited to host him here today and hear about his experience on his past projects.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so happy we can talk again about all this AI thing because it's really big at the moment. So yeah, super excited about it.
Yeah, so you brought in a slideshow to talk about your background and what you've been working on. Do you want to start sharing that?
Yeah, okay. So I prepare a little presentation to help you guys visualize what I've been through until now. So basically, I'm Yves, and I've been directing films and commercial for more than 20 years now. I got several awards, especially with my animated film in the past. I used to be a technical director with Maya, so I have a long experience with the CG 3D animation, and I was animation director for commercial and with the team and with different people and different studios. I'm also doing the runway meetups in Tokyo at the moment with friends. I worked with Secret Level, Door Brothers, other studios, and I'm a creative partner of most AI application. Some of my clients are Conrad, Unilever, Canon, and the awards I got in along the way. So especially 3 animated film. The choreographer is a live action film, but it was only selected for festivals. So I do a lot of art direction since I come from the CG background. We used to do everything from the scratch ourselves, the character design, the background design, the like choosing the atmosphere for the film. So that's pretty much a habit for me to do everything from the scratch. I worked with different people, influencers here in Japan for different campaigns. shooting commercial. It was really fun, but you'll see like the differences later when we will talk about it with AI. I do a lot of public speaking. I love to share what I'm doing. I love to share with the audience the behind the scene of my work, and I like to explain my process, my thinking process. How do I achieve what I want to do? So I used to do that by doing some seminars and events. And I prepared a little bit of my background so you can understand more where I come from when we are talking to AI. So back in 2003, that was the very beginning of 3D animation. And I went to one of the most prestigious film school, animation film school back then in France. It's called Superfocom. Now everything changed. There's a lot of super great school that teach CGI. Probably we'll have school that teach AI as well. But that was my first film. And as you can see, for all the films I'm going to show you, I always do a deep research, deep pre-production phase to make sure I have my ideas in place and what I share, like the vision I share, is very precise and correct for my audience. So this is the pre-production. It started with some stories a few years before on the black and white, and then I changed that with the character that became a cat. And this is the final 3D animation rendering. We used traditional texture. So I used to paint my texture in Photoshop and with real watercolors to have the real textures on the background, as you can see on the top left. And everything is camera mapped in 3D for the background, and the character has UV unmapping for the model because it's a fully 3D model. So my film was screened in Los Angeles, and that's how I got my work in Japan. Like a company saw Reba in SIGGRAPH a year later, and I got a job in Japan, and I thought, why not? The experience is really cool. So I was much younger back then, and I started to work with Japanese people, and I didn't know the language. I was moving my hands like this to explain what I want to do, and that was a big adventure. So some of those work I did with them on long feature films. You can see I was developing here a muscle system for character rigging for a kind of weird design. It's a frog. So the frog is very round, and they asked me, okay, please, can you figure out how we will rig this character and animate it? So I really like to start from a solid point of knowledge to craft anything I do in the future. And it's the same with AI today. But I like to study the muscle, the facial muscle, and adapt it to the shape. So it would be helpful for me to see how I can rig that and make it move afterwards. Here you have like more samples of how I was studying the facial riggings. I was trying to imagine how these muscles are going to move for the different emotions, so I can reproduce after in my rig to make the muscles move the right way. So that's the real work of character rigging and animators. Originally, we have to understand precisely what we are doing. It cannot be random. Here is another short film, another original movie that was supposed to be an animated series for kids. It's called The Dreams of René. It's the story of an owl who falls asleep at night, and he dreams, and he explores his dreams, and he meets a lot of different creatures, and he can learn a lot from these encounters. So before to start the CGI, I was also looking for my character, giving him weaknesses, so we can identify, the audience can identify to the character. I think that's one of the most important thing to do when we make a story or we make a film, is how can we make a character that is really resonating with the audience. And there are techniques for that comes directly from the traditional filmmaking. If you're interested, you can read Alfred Hitchcock. He has a lot of good information about this. And yeah, that's a very important part. Here you can see the final result. of the movie pilot. So it's also full CGI, 3D animation. And I use the same technique, and because I love painting and I love different artists like Egon Schiele, the expressionist painters, I was trying to reproduce this style with my 3D animation. And so that's why it's very pictorial, it's very flat. And I was using 3D to give a little bit of perspective with the lighting, but not too much. And I absolutely loved doing my framings like that. I could control everything, and yeah, it was very fun. This is another example of my short films. It's a full 3D animation. On the left, you have a mix of drawing and 3D. On the right, it's only a manual drawing, and that's the cover of the CD of the band, because this film was a music video that I directed for NHK Minna no Uta. It's a famous program here in Japan. Here is you have an example of how is it inside the film. So we were two people, and we modeled the background and the landscape for every shot. The characters are fully modeled. We rigged them, we animated them manually, and you can see the textures. I unflattened the textures here to show you how it was applied on the 3D model. Here's an example of the texture for this shot of the city. So it's a camera map that we drew manually, again with watercolor and mix of Photoshop brushes. We needed like maybe 2 days to make this map, or 1 full day, can't remember exactly, but that was a lot of work, and that's just for one shot. So yeah, back then that was a lot of work. This film was awarded in New York. It got the best music video, the third place, no, the first place of the bronze award of best music video. And of course, NHK team was super happy to get this, and that was satisfaction for everyone. And now let's talk about AI. I wanted to give you a bit of context of my vision today, and how what I teach basically is how can we bridge the gap from 3D animation to AI. We are really at a very specific moment where animators are going to be able to take the leap to AI. It's not yet the case, but I think it's coming. And you can see that with CGI, with 3D animation, you have full control. As you guys probably know, with AI, you can't have total control yet on the output. So my vision is really I'm always asking myself, how can we bring this quality and this precision coming from the 3D animation, the professional environment of filmmaking, to AI animation? That's my work. So I prepared with Maddie an AI work selection, so you can see my most recent work with AI, and you'll see that it's a mix of different media. So I guess I will let Maddie play it. This film was awarded third place at Project Odyssey. It's called Ampu, and I have a lot of behind the scenes coming for that.
Hey, my name is Yves Dalbiez. I'm a French writer and film director based in Tokyo, and I've collaborated with global brands to create commercials and short films for the past 20 years. In addition to directing, I also have a technical background in Maya, where I've built character rigs for my own projects and clients, as well as supervised animation on various projects. When AI started gaining traction, I naturally explored how to integrate these tools into my creative process and experiment with new possibilities. Last year, I directed my first AI-assisted film, Mind, Body, No Limits. It was an experimental project that blends live action with stable diffusion. The goal was to create a dynamic 2D animation effects using real footage combined with AI diffusion techniques. The result turned out surprisingly well. The film was featured on Stash Media along with a 10 minutes behind the scene breakdown. Early this year, I took on another challenge and I pushed things even further. In January, I set out to create a 60-second short film in just 25 days, alongside a group of friends. The project combined live action, AI-generated shots, AI-driven VFX for face and character replacements, and a new AI diffusion tool called Mago for the rendering. We worked 15 hours a day, every single day, with no breaks, for 25 days straight. We were quite exhausted by the end, but incredibly proud of the result. The short film, named Ampu, takes its name from an alternative version of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god. I've always been drawn to this character, and the idea of having him perform a dance in modern-day Tokyo felt like a very exciting challenge for me. Why 25 days to complete this experimental piece? Because I wanted to submit it to Project Odyssey Season 2, a prestigious international competition for AI-driven filmmaking. And to our delight, Ampu was selected last week as one of the top 25 finalists and is currently competing for the final ranking. But what truly surprised me was an unexpected realization during the storyboard process. This character had such a strong presence that he almost took on a life on his own, and it kind of shaped new ideas in my subconscious. I started to see the potential for Ampu to evolve into a full-fledged series. The recent advancements in Vigil V3 allowed me to seamlessly replace the face of an actor, a task that would have required extensive CGI just a few years ago. So I had the idea to combine this with the stylization tool Mago Studio, which is the successor of WAP Diffusion, and this enabled the creation of this unique visual style for the film. From art direction to final composite and color grading, I employed a mix of techniques and tools, and each shot was storyboarded and approached like a painting. We shot some scenes in real life at Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo, the very famous crossing which is very crowded, where a friend, Duncan, and I were acting, while other shots were generated using Kling AI and Hailuo Minimax. The plate cleaning process and tracking were primarily handled with Runway ML, which is very useful for different things. And each shot was then stylized using Mago Studio, following a precise workflow that worked only for this special shot. I plan to release a series of behind-the-scenes breakdown to give people a deeper understanding of how to leverage AI tools effectively, and also show that using AI tools for filmmaking is far more and should be far more than just pushing a button. Why do I do that? In the end, what truly matters is how our audience connects with our content on an emotional level, not the tools we use to create it. You know, powerful stories with an invisible tech at the service of the human artistic sense, so that we can provide the best possible experience for the audience. That is how I envision the future of our work as filmmakers.
All right.
We are back.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for
Great
screening
job.
it,
Great
Mavi.
job.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the screening. I think it's really efficient to show always the film and the making of right after, so we can really grasp the full production of it. It's really hard to say like the complexity when we look at something. So I always enjoy to share the behind the scenes.
Amazing. Thank you, Yves. And I would say for the audience too, that is the perfect example of our BTS category. I know you had submitted it or you had posted it online after the competition, since there's a lot that went into it. But I would say if people are able to have a little extra time at the end of the process, once they've made their submission, we've extended the submission window from 1 month to 2 months to give people a little bit more time, because everyone has busy lives and a lot going on. So if you're able to make it behind the scenes, I really recommend checking out the one that Yves made and some of the techniques. I think more than just a tutorial, it tells his personal story. It shows some of the context. It humanizes how the tools are being used. So I think that was really wonderful. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So I believe following up, we have a few more questions for Yves. So the first one I want to ask you is that, are you using like all the AI tools in all of your projects right now?
So all of the AI tools, no. I think I always pick up the most important for the project. And so far, so when I work with clients, I can make like full AI animation. But when I work for myself, because I don't have the full control of what I want to do in motion yet, I would use shooting, live action shooting, like I did for Ampu or for the previous film. But I'm pretty sure it's coming in the next year, like the full control on animation. So yeah, I really try to stick to my vision. My lighthouse, can I say lighthouse? You know, the lights that guide the boats on the sea. This light is my story and my message. So I always start from this story and message, and from there, what should I use as a media? Should I use stop motion? Should I use live action? Should I use 3D? 3D less nowadays because it takes too much time, but AI, you know. So yeah, I try to guide myself with the original vision first.
Yeah.
Great.
And the tool that you used, Mongo Studio, for those people watching, they're a sponsor. This year they have a new update for style transfer video. So if you want to take recorded video, I think they've solved some of the flickering, and have a really consistent, very nice style transfer that you can use. You sign up for their early access beta. It's on our free trials page. Alvaro and the team there are really, really great guys based out of Paris. If you're in Paris too, we'll have a meetup actually on September 4th. So that's coming up soon, and Mongo Studio will be there too.
Yeah, I truly recommend to try this app. It's completely amazing, the level of freedom that it gives to everyone regarding the visual style. Yeah, it's worth trying and yeah, experimenting with it.
Got it. Okay, next following up question. So do you approach an animation project differently now while you are using AI, like comparing to the traditional tools?
So for me, I would say the pre-production phase is the same. You know, the character design, the art direction, the storyboarding, like how to plan a movie is exactly the same. Where it's going to be different, I noticed it's in the production. During the production phase, it's more condensed to use AI. For example, in 3D animation, you would do modeling separately, then you would do texturing, then you would animate, you would pass that to the team of animators. And once the animation is locked, you would start doing the lighting and the rendering and, render the scene. Now with AI, it's more like you plan your shots, you make the stills, and then you render motion and rendering at the same time. So it's like kind of compressing the distance of achievement, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's one of the best outcome with AI.
Yes.
Yeah, looking at the chat, there are a bunch of workflow questions that people have too. So, like, first of all, the first question is, like, when you're building out your workflow, are you using web browsers? Are you using APIs or open source tools? Like,
Yeah.
how are you building that out?
Yeah, it varies. When I started, I was a lot on stable diffusion, automatic 1111. Then I did like a year of Confi UI, and I dived into the nodes and stuff. Like, for those who knows, it's a rabbit hole. And then I noticed I was spending more time being a technical person than a creative person with Confi UI. So I oriented myself more to the online apps like Kling, Hailuo, Mago, all these apps that are absolutely wonderful. Runway, I can't cite every one of them, but it's easier, it's faster to work with these tools. Of course, if I had more time, I would go back to Confi UI because you have full control, absolutely amazing. And but unfortunately, I don't have the time at the moment and the luxury to do that. So I would probably, for my films, if I had to choose like what tools to use, definitely I would have a guy who is like Confi UI experts at developing workflows in Confi UI to help me achieve what I want. That's definitely a plus. But it's perfectly possible to achieve a lot of things with the online apps at the moment. So yeah, it's I would say there's not much differences.
And like technical question following up on that, people are wondering, how do you keep consistency, particularly with the character across the film?
It's a question that evolves along the month. Every week it changes. So it's a hard question to answer. For example, on the work I did, the first time I did character consistency was for the music video of Snoop Dogg with the Door Brothers. So I had to depict Snoop in my sequence, and I worked with Midjourney on that at that time, and I was trying to get close to the look of Snoop by using references photos, and that's what I was doing. Now there is omni-reference in Midjourney. And there is also now, of course, everyone talking about it, Nano Banana, that allows you to create a model sheet of your character from different angles. So you can create a Laura if you want in Freepik with all these different angles of your character. And yeah, it evolves all the time to get more precise, to have character consistency. But that's some of the techniques I used so far.
And do you have any suggestions or tips for anyone that's like in the chat room right now trying to use AI for animation styles?
Yeah, so animation style, it depends what you want to achieve. But if you really want to make something look like animation, it's more about the motion than the visual look. So everyone say, oh, I did an animation look, it's really cool, but when you look at the motion, it actually doesn't look right from an animation perspective. So it's just, so you can feel it's a little bit off. So my advice would be, instead of trying to make something like Ghibli or make something like existing style manga, study the talents of animation and look for the keyframing, how it works, study about the pacing, the timing, and what makes a shot interesting and dynamic. One of the best example I can give you is Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. That was done by Sony Picture, and all these artists are absolutely amazing. And those are the guys you want to study to make something look cool, because that's where the real knowledge of animation comes from, and we should always remember that. So yeah, I would say study the origins of animation and what makes a cool shot, a cool dynamic shot. That's where the magic is.
Thank you for the great advice. They're really, really useful. And the next question, following up, what is your advice when it comes to look development, like for Ampu, like the very specific style? Like, what's your advice on that?
So yeah, I come from a traditional background. So when I was at school, we had like class of art history, and it's very hard to pronounce for a French person. You know that? Art history. And those are the classes that I remember the most, because that's so amazing to discover everything that human created and how they were genius, like in the different styles. And that's when you start to understand, like, okay, you have all the sculpture facet of art, with the Aborigine art, you have all the painting, the Renaissance, the Cubist, the Expressionist, the Impressionist. It's absolutely fantastic to explore the history of art, and that's where you will learn and you will get inspired. It's like tea. You get inspired by what you look and what you are studying, and naturally, before you notice, you will start to develop your own style by studying all of that. So again, instead of looking at what people do with AI, and trying to get inspired by that, I would say go to see some exhibitions, go to the museum, study the painting of Renoir, study his personal story, and how artists tie that to their muse. They have love for someone, and that inspired them to do painting, and all of that really diffuse a very interesting and romantic energy, and you can create out of that like different styles, and that will give you not only visual ideas, but that will also give you some stories and world to explore. And I strongly believe that each story has their own style, and you have to, basically, the story itself is telling the artist, I want this style, but if you don't listen, you can't get it out. So as artists, we have to listen, okay, this story requires a special visual style to convey correctly the message and the emotion. And if you miss that correct visual style, then you won't convey the message of your story. So that would be my advice, try to don't get stuck in one style, anime, manga, but explore all the art history and the rich culture that we have around that.
Yeah. So besides AI, there are way more things to learn if you want to create a great piece. Okay. Thank you, Yves, for today for joining us on the live stream. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
And
And
just want to bring up again, like how
Yeah.
people can
yeah,
connect with
please
you,
follow
follow
Yves.
up.
Thank you. I want to add something. I want to say, especially with AI, because it's going to be more and more automated, right? So where will come from our personal branding? Where will come from our own voice and color? It will come from your inspirations. It will come from who you are, from our human side. So when the computer takes care of the technical aspects, we have to emphasize our human color, to put it into AI, to put it at work. So that's why I mentioned all of that, like to enrich yourself with different experiences, because that's where you will get your real branding.
Yeah. And I think there was even a conversation that you, Davis, and I had at that lunch where we were talking about there might be a certain point in the future where it's really whoever has the best idea, and all of those manual skills are automated to some degree, where who's to say you couldn't have an agent that's hooked up to ChatGPT and it's hooked up to all these different softwares and it's doing the video gen and it's making the prompt. But I think at the core of that, it's still the idea that's always important. So everyone, thank you. Let's give a big round of applause to Yves, and thank him for joining us. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yves.
Thank you, guys. I'm reading the comments on the right side.
Yeah, please follow Yves, and if you're in Tokyo, go to one of his meetups.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. And yeah, don't hesitate to connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. I will be waiting for you.
All right. So now we're going to go on to the competition launch. Yay! So excited.
Yay. Yeah, so today, September 1st, is the first day we are opening up both the free trials and submissions. Thank you everyone for the patience. There's some technical troubleshooting. We're trying to do this for free, right? There's no charge for submissions. For the free trial, some of them you do have to enter your credit card info, but you're able to cancel it right after. So just be aware of it, and be aware of any incoming charges. But for the most part, what we hope is that it doesn't require any spend, and it really helps you get you started on your films or music videos or games, and challenges you to work on something new. So I'm going to walk through those different processes of both how to redeem the free trials and also how to submit to the competition. I will take over the screen share if that's okay, Maddie.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then if anyone has questions, please put them in our YouTube chat.
Great. So first things first is the free trials. You can access them. We've posted the links a variety of different places. I have them on the website here. And it should be in the email. It should be in the Discord. If you need to troubleshoot, the Discord is the best place because people are chatting a lot about that. But that'll essentially take you to this free trials page where we have, you have to enter your email and text verification because there's sometimes rampant fraud where people try to resell the codes, and that's really not what we're about. We're trying to give this to as many people as possible to get them started on the project. So we don't mind if you share the free trials with your friends, with your family. But what we do mind is if you make multiple accounts, if you try to take the codes and resell them on Reddit, that's highly frowned upon, and you will be banned from the current competition, from the future competition, and it just it makes it a bad experience for everyone. So please be honest. Please try to have good intentions, and I'll walk you through some of the offerings here. Right now, we have a lot of great sponsors. We're going to have more in a couple days from Dreamina and some other ones. They're going to send us over their credits pretty soon. But essentially, what you can do is for all of these different cards, we have our title ones in purple, gold ones in gold, so on and so forth. Is they have these like little Pokemon card packs, and for each of them, you're able to learn a little bit about the product itself, learn about the prizes, which we also have on our prize page, and you're able to easily just take the code and redeem it. So you have to log in first. You have to verify your phone number. Right now, we're having the issue with phone numbers from a couple regions where it's like a non-standard digit length. So if you can, sometimes it takes a couple minutes to send to get the text verification code, and it's also prohibited in some sanctioned countries. For example, like Russia, you won't be able to access the free trials. But for people else in other places of the world, it should just be as easy as clicking on the show code and redeeming it, and it should either apply it, or for some sponsors, you might have to manually enter the code. So for example, with FAL, I'm going to have this Chroma Awards code. Some of them are going to be unique codes where you're going to need to go to that free trials page and manually redeem it. For example, like the LTX Studio one, it gives me this code that I can copy. And even if you log out or log back in, and then for example, LTX Studio /redeem, and then you can just copy and paste that code. Some of them require new accounts. Some of them work with existing accounts. I think the ElevenLabs one works with an existing account. So it'll just be a little trial and error. But try out all our sponsors, not just the title ones. We have some, like we said, Mongo Studio. We have for vibe coding. We have lip sync for screenwriting. Everything you really could need to make one of these projects. So we're really thankful to the sponsors for offering that. And that's a little bit of an overview of how to do. And we'd really appreciate if you could share the word about the free trials, especially to your communities, to people who are either creative veterans or people who are just getting started. It's for everyone who's at any stage of their creative journey. You're not required to compete in the competition, but it's recommended. If you're playing around, you're making all these cool works, might as well submit them to the competition, and post about it online, post about the tools you used, and like Yves did, spotlight it in your behind the scenes, because these different companies are offering different great cash prizes, and you have to use, well, in the general competition, you don't have to use any particular tool. For the sponsor awards, which I'll show here if I go to info and I go to prizes. So for any of the main categories, you don't need to use specific tools, but for the specific sponsors, they will be selecting their winners from the people who tag them. I'll go over a couple questions from that before we get into how to submit. For Adobe, what is the free trial? For Adobe, they're just offering their basic free trial plan. So it depends on the sponsor. You can kind of check out the different trials there. Any other questions about the free trials before we move to the next one? Before
And
we
we're
move to
gonna-
the submission process.
And that website page is gonna update, right? Like with Dreamina that's coming out.
Yeah, in a day or two, we'll have a couple more of those free trials come up. So as long as it's the same account, you'll be able to log back in. And if you total it up, it's a couple $100s of stuff. So these AI films can get expensive. So we hope that this helps lessen some of the burden, for the financial burden, because it just makes it more accessible for everyone. Cool.
And some of these have a limited number, right?
Yeah, we're not displaying the number, but some of them, it is limited. What we do ask is, like Yves said, think intentionally about what tools you're going to need for the project. Don't just go and redeem every single one, because if you're not going to use it, then that takes it away from someone else. So, do it as you need it. And then, what we try to do is have this great prize pool, because sometimes, or we have this great free trial pool, because sometimes the big cash prizes only benefit the people who win the competition. Whereas with the free trials, it helps everyone, whether it's their first AI film, whether it's their 30th AI film. It is all important part of that process. So will winners get a physical award? Maybe TBD. If we're able to, we might. I think we're thinking we might do a event in Tokyo after Chinese New Year around early March. So we might fly some of the winners there. Maybe we'll have a physical award, but at the very least, we'll have those cash prizes. OpenArt, ImagineArt, and Luma AI are not showing the codes to redeem. Let me go check that. So OpenArt, it's working for me. So yeah, I'm not sure, Sela, what the issue is, but if you're still having that issue, it might be having to do with the login, but it's showing up for me. Cool. Okay. So I will move on to the submission process, if that's okay. Great.
Yeah, let me pull that up for you.
Oh yeah, let me reshare my screen. Cool. So going back to the website, if you go to our homepage, you can click on the submit window, and that will bring you to our dev post site. So this is it's usually used for hackathons. We're using it for this because we're able to have some of the informational questions and pay out the prizes. We'll evaluate, in the future if this is the best platform. But for now, this is what we're using, and you're able to look at the rules. If you go to these different tabs here, you can see the full list of legal rules, but we've also put the kind of the TLDR of those rules and requirements. Of course, for the various categories, you need to see they have like slightly different ones, so you want to make sure that you're following. Sorry, it's so complex. We'll try and figure out a more simplistic interface in the future, but this is what we have this time. But check out the different guidelines for that specific category, and then check out the different rules on what we're recommending, and also the guidelines. You can see all of our different sponsors, and you can also see all of our different prizes there too. to actually make the submission, I'll walk through it right now. We're taking films that have been made, as long as you made it after February 1st, 2025, it's eligible to the competition. So it doesn't just have to be in this 2-month window. And we actually really appreciate if you can submit as much as you can to the competition, because that's one of our metrics for success. We're trying to be the world's biggest AI film competition, get as many people participating, trying the free trials, submitting their work. And there's no entry fee, so we would really appreciate it. So starting off, you want to say create project. If you want to add any teammates, you're welcome to do so. You can add your project name. We also have a tutorial video that's linked on the side, but let's just call it, Project Odyssey, or sorry, not Project Odyssey. Oops. Chroma Awards, title. So whatever your title would want to be, a little description, a story about blah, blah, blah. And you can add a little thumbnail there too. Here you can write about like how it was made. You don't need to fill out all, this is just the pre-filled questionnaire. You don't need to, you have to put something there, but you don't need to fill out these specific questions. So you could just talk about your inspiration, or how you use the tools, blah, blah, blah. I think this section it won't be important for the main judging, but it will be important for either the behind the scenes or the sponsor awards, where they will look at this section a little bit more, because they'll want to see how they use those tools. Similarly here, you don't need to, we'll have a section later on where you can add the tools that you're eligible for. So, don't, you have to put something there, but you can kind of ignore it. And then if you have your YouTube link, you can put that there, but we also accept Reddit and other links. So you can leave this blank. And then in the next page, if you want to put your hyperlink to your submission across film, music videos, or games, you're able to do that. So let's just, get a random video. I'll get my how to submit to the Chroma Awards. I'll paste my link in there. I want to choose my category and choose a random category. I agree that I'm following the rules, and also this is optional. But if you win the prize award for the sponsor, you probably want them to be able to contact you to give you special prizes. So I would recommend checking yes to that. You can add your studio name. So Chroma Awards Productions, for example. There's no team size limit. Just it helps us to know how many people who are on your team. Here's the really important part, this sponsor awards section. So which tools did you use? So for this, you can multi-select and you can add all the different sponsor tools, and then that will make you eligible for those prizes, because we'll essentially have a tag for each of those sponsors that we're able to, when it goes to a spreadsheet view, be able to determine which ones came from which tools. Variety of other informational questions for the eligibility, and then a variety of optional questions as well, that it's just kind of a questionnaire. So it helps us determine the impact of the free trials, where we should run some of these in-person events, and helps us just plan better for the future. It's a growing process. We're not going to get things right the first time with this competition, but we want to iterate and grow, and we always have the best intentions in mind of being able to improve. So your feedback really helps us out. So let's see if that works, or if I got any errors. Okay. And then after you submit, it'd be great if you could share on social media, if you could tag it, if you could let people know about the competition, share your work. And that's pretty much it. Great. So then your submission is all correct. What it looks like from my end on the, let me see if I can show you what it looks like from my end, manage hackathon. So here's the submission I just made. So it has all of the, so don't worry if things don't show up here, because I have all of the the important information on over here, and then we'll use that to do these various judging rounds, which you can find out more on the website. So we'll use these different criteria, and then we'll have a preliminary round, semifinal round, so that it's all human reviewed and it's as fair a process as possible. Like we said before, it's not a nothing's perfect. Each strategy used for judging has its benefits, it has its flaws. This is the one we're comfortable with. We've used it in the past and it works, and we think it's a fair way for people to select what we think is the top projects. So, any questions on that? Cool.
Real quick,
Yeah.
there was a question about understanding sort of what the different tools are. So that's what each of those sponsor videos do, right?
Yeah, and in the top left, it essentially says like what the tool is about. Is it for image and video generation? Is it for storyboarding? Is it for voiceover and music? On the ElevenLabs side, so you're able to see which of those tools can work for those use cases.
Yeah, the videos go into more detail before you actually redeem those codes. It's pretty cool.
Cool. Yes. So Pat asks, yes, you have to register first. So you have to enter your email so we know who to contact. So you do have to click that join hackathon before you are able to submit to the competition. Yes, you can submit multiple entries. You can do games and music. You could have multiple games. You could have multiple games in one subcategory. The only restriction is, of course, following the rules. Not showing using IP that you don't have, but also you can't use the same exact video across multiple categories. So each video you submit or each project you submit has to be totally unique. So, your one project is only eligible for one category. It can win multiple awards. Your one project can win both the category award it's in and then also one of the sponsor awards, but your one project can't win multiple music video categories, for example. Let's see. What was the next question? Oh yeah, so some people were asking about Quebec. Unfortunately, there is a restriction if you are based in Quebec and some other countries like Italy and Brazil, because there are some sanctions and rules against hosting online competitions and giveaways, which our competition falls under. So, if you're not from those countries, right, you can participate. So, we won't, we're asking people to be honest, but use your best judgment. Those are just our legal restrictions for participating. Cool. Was there anything else? Maybe I missed one. Oh, will we be showing the winners at the end? Yes, we will be showing the winners at the end. On December 7th, we'll have an Oscar-style award ceremony where we'll do a quick first, second, third. We'll also have a live stream since we'll have all the things will be approved in terms of people having the rights and there's no DMCA issues. We'll have probably on this live stream just a loop of all the winning films. And what we do is we don't just spotlight the first, second, third place winners. In each category, we release a list of the top 25, potentially top 50 based on how many entries we're going to get. So people can, we don't release the exact scores, but we just say if you're in this bucket of top 25, so people can be proud of even if they didn't win the full competition, they're still able to have that recognition. They're able to see where they ended up and see where they could potentially improve for the future. And then we'll have a lot of employers, a lot of studios who are looking at this list, the sponsors too. They're looking for creative partners. So they're going to be able to go through these lists of not just the winners, but also the specialists in each of those categories to find those people. Cool.
Yeah, are there any other questions on YouTube, anyone? And
yes, so for the prohibited countries, if you go to the where did it go? Yeah, here I'm screen sharing again. On that homepage, it says which oh yeah, okay, I'm screen sharing again. It says which ones are excluded. So it's, the ones on the sanctions list, and also some of these other ones. And unfortunately, there's just no way to get around them. We'd love to have people participate from those regions, but just make sure you're not on some trade sanctions list. You can still submit. I think it really only affects you if you win the competition, because it might disqualify you at that stage, but just be cognizant of that. Cool. I think that's it from me.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Maddie, for joining us. I think that wraps up our live stream for this Monday. Again, here's all the ways you can stay connected with us. We have in-person meetups starting this week, right? With Paris in the 4th, and a couple other ones in LA, Tokyo, San Francisco, New York. So please check that out on our events page. And then our next live stream will be this Wednesday at noon. Davis, you want to set up who we're talking with then?
So Wednesday, we're talking to an amazing AI artist, Shay.
Yes, and we had to move Saga from today because of all the announcements that we have, but we will be talking with Vessel from Saga, and he'll be walking exactly through how you can redeem those free trials and all the great things you can do on that tool. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining our stream. We'll see you at the next one.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and
everyone.
in the meantime, please share word about the competition to any communities, mailing lists, group chats. Even if it's just one person that you bring into it, that has a ripple effect, and it really helps us grow our community. So anything is appreciated.
Yeah, just send them to @Chroma Awards, any of our social media accounts. All right. Have a
All
great
right.
night, everyone.
Have a great night, everybody.